A 3-thread overlock is one of the 3 stitches I use all the time. We're working through all the free video tutorials on the Singer Elite SE017, but keep in mind all sergers are very similar, so if this is something you want to learn, you can probably follow along and relate it to your serger you have at home. So when we go from a 4-thread overlock, which has 2 needles and all 4 threads in action, all we need to do, and this time we're going to do a narrow 3-thread. So I'm going to start at the bottom here. I am going to clip the blue left needle. So I'm going to just clip it, and then I am going to pull it backwards. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but it's okay for a couple times. And here is the trick. Did you see I actually removed the spool from the serger? So anytime that I'm only using 3 threads, or on this serger we could even go down to 2, is removing the threads you're not using. What that does is if you leave one of these up here, maybe dangling from the little thread stand, it will come back and play with its friends. Ask me how I know. We see that all the time. So if you're using 3 threads, have only 3 threads on the serger. Next, you're going to need the small screwdriver to take out the needle. Now, if you don't want that needle to drop down into your machine, you could just take a piece of paper or a little fabric and just set it underneath your presser foot. That way, if you lose grip of the needle, it won't drop in and then you have to dig it out. So as we come up, they are labeled A and B. You can just come up here, loosen the screw. Now, do keep in mind, these screws are very, very short. So if you're unscrewing lots, you probably want to stop because that screw can get out and it's very difficult to get it back in if you can find it. Usually they end up on my floor and roll. Now watch, as I am putting this back in, did you notice how many times I twisted this to get it to go all the way back in? I want you to tighten that screw, but do keep in mind, as we took that needle out, we took it out and then put the screw in. So when we go to put that needle back in, we need to pull the screw out, out, so that needle can go all the way back in at a later time, and then we can tighten it back into position. Now, while we're here nice and close, up close to the serger, let's just talk about a 3-thread overlock. I do like this when it is done on a single piece of fabric. And I love just that it puts that nice simple edge. Now you can kind of see those loops hanging off the edge. Again, this is something people always ask me about. What about the loops? They're awful. So here's what you want to do. You're going to take the adjustment for the knife, which is right down here, and you're going to bring that knife all the way out as far as it can go. And that will allow more fabric to fill in to this area. Oh, I love that stitch. That's a perfect edge for just like a little hem. It's also the start of a rolled hem. So when we get to our video where we're going to do a rolled hem, that will go further as we pull this little stitch finger out, then also tighten the lower looper. So you can actually do a narrow 3-thread, or if we had removed the inside needle instead of the outside, we would have gotten a wider 3-thread. It's a really pretty stitch to use when you're just wanting the edges to be kissed with an overlock seam. I hope you'll check out all of our video tutorials. We've got a whole playlist right here at the end where you can start at the beginning and learn everything about your serger.